Okay. Hello, I'm Nikolai Nikolaev. I'm one of the maintainers, together with Ed and Fred, of Network Service Mesh, and I'm also a networking lead at Open Source Technology Center in VMware. First of all, I would like to thank you for joining us today. This is our very first event, as probably all of you know, and I'm really, really excited to see all of you being interested in whatever we do. I was honored to be joining this community last year in Seattle. And some of you were there, and I never imagined that a year later we are going to hold this event. So let's talk a little bit about my view of why NSM matters. And I'm usually the guy with the pictures in my slides. Today it beats me, so my slides are a bit bare. So when we develop, I don't know if you are able to see, but okay, when we develop Network Service Mesh, we have three main groups of people in mind. So first of all, it's the software developers. Of course, probably most of you have heard about our famous Sarah example, where she runs her workload in the public cloud, and she wants to connect to the central office through a VPN. So for software developers, we provide framework and essentially facilities so that they can offload their networking needs to external parties, to someone that can take care of them. They just want to consume them, and this is one of the main groups of people that we're targeting with NSM. The next group of people that we're targeting is system architects. So with system architects, we essentially allow them to build more creative solutions, both in the networking domain and also in the regular domain. So you can imagine that people would like to build networking applications when you say network service mesh, but it's not only about this. So we have network services, people that want to build network services, system architects that want to build and deploy these things. Then they have their own needs, which I think we cover, and also some of the ideas that we do are also applicable to a wider, broader enterprise applications domain. And last but not least, infrastructure operators. So for them, we are providing cloud-native aligned declarative API for running and deploying their applications, networking applications specifically. So for infrastructure operators, what we think, at least I find really interesting, is that now your networking applications are not something separate. You can run them in the same workload management, troubleshooting, lifecycle management domain and toolset. So we have Kubernetes implementation today. So essentially we make, for example, your firewall or your load balancer a first-class citizen application of this Kubernetes deployment alongside all your applications. Network service mesh, first of all, is a concept. As it was showing, it all started with a number of boxes and arrows, and then we have this concrete implementation with Kubernetes. But at least the way that I see it is built on three main pillars. So one of them is workload connectivity. When we say workload, we imagine all the bare metals, virtual machines, and containerized applications or workloads that you can run. And essentially, it's the concept that was shown already: virtual wires, cheap virtual wires, pod-to-point, workload-to-workload connectivity, cross-domain, bare metal to virtual machine to container, etc. We also believe that within this concept, we unlock the capabilities of building scalable networking applications, because we are applying a lot of the cloud-native principles. I think that this is probably our main guideline principle, the cloud-native approach to building applications. So we believe that with NSM, we are unlocking the building of more scalable and more cloud-native networking applications. And last here is declarative networking infrastructure. So I mentioned this already. I think that this is a very, very important part of of the future of what we are trying to build next with networks. Being able to request for resources, not imperatively, bind your virtual machines. I guess that some of you have been involved in networking function virtualization, binding to specific PCI devices, drivers, etc. We want to decouple from that. We want to be able to use declarative way of defining your network infrastructure. So I will fast forward. So I tried to imagine a couple of interesting use cases. Some of these have been discussed, some of them have been implemented, but what you can do with NSM. So imagine you can have a firewall that spans several Kubernetes, and why not Kubernetes and OpenStack clusters. So you can deploy really truly distributed application across clouds that can be completely unified from management point of view. Or imagine you have a set of GPUs that you want to expose as a service. So this is one of my favorites. You have your GPU sitting there on some of the worker nodes. You deploy a bounding service that exposes them through RDMA. You can do GPU direct. So you expose a service that your workloads can consume and say, OK, I want to offload something to a GPU. Give me connectivity to it, and I will use it to do my ML AI. No Bitcoin. Bitcoin is bad. Or you might have your top of the rack switch where there's a certain specific function that you want to expose for your applications to consume. So you can have your IPsec tunnel configured there by the people that have the right skills to do so. So you just expose it as a service, and the applications that run in the rack, they say, OK, I want my IPsec tunnel. They don't really care how this is configured, who maintains it, etc. And I know that some of the people are looking at NSM, and we'll probably have a couple of discussions later this week around how NSM can help better multi-tenancy, for better multi-tenancy in Kubernetes. So imagine CNI being implemented as a network service. I know that people are experimenting with this, and we are probably going to see today a lot more interesting examples of how people are using NSM in their projects, in their organizations. And with this, enjoy the conference. Thanks again to our sponsors. I don't have the updated slide, but Juniper is sponsoring our lunch. And Fred, you ready to switch?